All right, we're back, everybody, with the SilmFilm script discussion, Season 3, Episode 1, Part 5. Haha! Got it in one. Yeah, so we're rolling. We are rolling along now at a blistering pace.
We're totally in Act 2.
We are in Act 2 doing things. We're coming up on the midpoint of the episode. And I feel like we're gonna have some trouble in Act 3. I can already see it. But we're kind of gonna have trouble in Act 2, to be honest. All right, so the conversation between Finarfin, Act 4 is gonna be super easy. The conversation between Finarfin, Act 4 is always easy because we're kind of laying the groundwork.
Act 4 is the part that shows up in the book.
Right. Yeah. We have dialogue already written for Act 4. We don't have to make anything up. It's awesome. Firstly, before I get any further, Richall had said that we also should keep an eye out for Feanor's decision points if we're going to run with the parallel, anti-parallel with Estelle's choices. Yes, absolutely. Basically, what the plan is currently is to have, during the tag, after the conversation between Nerdanel and Feanor breaks down, we're going to have Estelle sneaking out of Rivendell by night. Because that's totally cool for young Aragorn to do. But let's get back to Act 2. So, how does Finarfin broach this subject with his kids?
Galadriel is probably not someone who has had any reason to hide her desire to go back to Middle-earth. So her father should be well aware that she feels that way.
Yes.
His wife should be in this conversation, Eowyn.
Yes.
She's the one who's related to everyone in Alqualande.
Right. Yeah.
So she'll be kind of important as the tag of the next episode. Someone who needs to be really good at grieving. So I don't know that she needs to say a lot here, but if anyone in the family is going to express a love for Valinor, I would think it would be Eowyn. So Galadriel would be like, I think it's a great idea to leave, and the trees are dead, so why not? Let's go.
Yeah. Does Finarfin basically, is he just calling a family meeting? Is that what's going on here?
I think he's scared on some level. Like, he knows that what's coming is bad. Yeah. And he doesn't see how to stop it.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out what to do about it, and he wants to make sure his family's all together.
Not to get too sidetracked, where do we think this scene is taking place?
In his home.
Okay.
So that's why it's like,
that he has like a hall? Do you think he has a hall?
Sure.
Okay.
But so his home would be simple. It's clearly not the palace of Finwe.
But do you think he has like like a hall to say the size of like Meduseld and attendants?
Right. Something with like a courtyard or a big common area hall or something. Like there's a room to have this meeting in that has plenty of space. They're not sitting in like a living room.
Right. Are there people? Yeah, because living rooms in that context are really weird.
Right.
Are there other people there besides his immediate family then?
There can be, yeah, but they're his household, so they're trusted people.
Right. So, because that kind of lends the question: would Finarfin question Feanor's plans / motives in front of people outside of his family?
Yeah. He could ask people to leave the room before he has the conversation. So, like, it could be that there's some other people around, and he says, leave us. And then
Galadriel could actually ask. So do you think we'll be able to go back to Middle Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Like relatively innocently, because she's pretty young still.
Yeah.
In Elvish terms.
This is like teenage Galadriel, even though she's an adult.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, she's max like 30 years old at this point, based on what we've been doing.
Right.
So she brings this up pretty innocently. I think she's excited about this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Finarfin could bring up how, he thought that she wasn't overly fond of Feanor.
I think that what Finarfin wants to bring up is it's never a good idea to make important decisions when you're angry and hurting and experiencing grief and all this. So I think his contribution to the conversation should be choose wisdom.
Yeah.
And be fearful of people who make decisions rashly.
Right.
I don't think he needs to badmouth Feanor, but
that's true. Well, but we need to get that idea across. So maybe Finrod brings that up. He could even do it kind of chidingly, like almost making fun of her a little bit.
Yeah. Since when are you a fan of Feanor?
Right. Like, because we don't need to make this conversation completely 100% super serious.
No, it's a family discussion. So there's some relaxed air to it, but at the same time, Finarfin is quite serious because he's basically seen the writing on the wall at this point.
Right.
And,
He kind of sees exactly how this is going to break down before it even happens. He kind of because he's already had this conversation with Fingolfin. He's got to know, like, if Fingolfin won't stand up to Feanor, like, this is it. Like, that we're toast.
Yeah. Right. And he doesn't trust Feanor to be the leader of their people.
Right.
Which is why he's going to agree to go. He's going to agree to go.
Yeah.
And the reason he's going to agree is because he wants somebody who's reasonable to lead people.
Yeah.
So
you need someone of intelligence along on this kind of mission quest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But the point is, he has intelligence.
Yes.
Pippin says that as a goofball character, but Finarfin is actually not. He's got enough wisdom to see the problems here. So he feels the responsibility of, I too am a son of Finwe and should take on the responsibility of leading these people, even if no one wants me to, and even if I don't want to go there with them, I need to go along so that, so there's a sense of duty for him as well.
Right, absolutely. So, all right. So when we get that conversation, something else has to happen now that isn't a conversation like that. And I don't think we're ready to go to Angband yet because that's the wrong note for here. I think.
Do we want to check in with the Valar at all?
I was thinking about that. We are definitely going to get at least a shot of Manwë and Varda in Act 4. I don't want to really be talking to the Valar and the Ainur too much in this episode.
Right. It should be fairly there outside of this conversation.
Yeah. So I don't know that's. Yeah. I don't know how much we can really have them do without kind of overpowering the narrative there.
Right. So what do we need to do then?
I know. I'm trying to think of who else. I feel like Feanor entering the city is the end of Act 2.
So that's our middle of the episode.
Right.
Yeah, I can go with that.
The conversation between Feanor and Nerdanel at the beginning of Act 2 is our first pinch, which it sits really nicely where we've put it. We could have We could have messengers from Aqualande show up to remind us that they're there.
That would make sense at Finarfin's house.
Right? Because I feel like that communication happens with Fingolfin. Because Fingolfin's been the de facto leader of the Noldor.
Acting king.
Yeah. He's been the acting king for a bit now. And if Fingolfin is... Because Fingolfin's been living essentially in Finwe's house.
Yeah.
Since Finwe left. So when he returns, that's where he returns to. Mm-hmm. He's not sitting on the throne, I imagine, because that's got to be an uncomfortable situation to be in, because his dad did just die, and also he's
got an older brother who would take issue with that.
Right, and he just promised not to do that. So yeah. But if he's in the hall, I'm trying to think of who exactly would be with him. Maybe Fingon.
Right. Well, he has two sons, Fingon and Tirion, who are going to have different views.
But he's going to have a conversation with Tirion. I don't think Fingon needs to address the situation as much, because I think that most of what Fingon is going to do is going to be pretty obvious through nonverbal interactions with Maedhros.
Yeah. Although it would be interesting if Fingon and Maedhros never talked to each other in this entire episode.
I agree.
Because the separation of their families is pretty strong at this point. So even though we've been showing them as the best of friends,
they don't
talk.
Wait a minute. Are we sure that, because that actually could totally be another scene that could happen? Because I forgot the Sons of Feanor are here.
Well, that's the thing, is when do they show up? Do they come with the contingent from
I feel
Lorien?
like they would.
Yeah. Bless you. Yeah, so if they're around, then that stirs up all sorts of things, because Caranthir has something to say about Fingolfin being in Finwe's house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe we have a conversation with some of the Sons of Feanor, with the Sons of Feanor. Amongst themselves, objecting to Fingolfin, because Fingolfin's kind of taking a leadership role here.
He is, and Feanor's not there yet.
Yeah,
so...
and actually, I think that Maedhros should agree with them. I think that Maedhros should take the opposite position from the position he's going to take
later. Yeah.
Later.
Right.
He has to say that Fingolfin has no place taking their father's position.
Yes. I think that this is an opportunity to show the Sons of Feanor very much united with each other and clashing with most of the other people in Tirion.
Right.
Because they spent the last 10 years in Formonos. I mean, they haven't even been back in Tirion in years.
Yeah.
So things have changed. And the walls have gone up since they've been there.
Right. Yeah.
Things like that. So they look at the walls when they come into Tirion, since when does the city have walls?
Right.
Whereas everyone else is acting like that's normal.
Does Fingolfin have the army, Feanor's army, camp outside?
Oh.
I mean, you have this contingent of heavily armed troops. Mm-hmm. Do you really want that wandering around your city? That just seems like a horrible idea. Because they have armed people in the city. They're all armed and whatnot, but these are
very visibly carrying weapons and full armor, which is not quite the same thing as heraldry. Because most of the people in the city just display heraldry.
Right. Yeah. They have the cool military regalia, lots of epaulets, but nobody's actually walking around with M16s on their shoulder.
Right. It's the difference between uniforms and being armed.
Yes.
You can be in uniforms and just look like the color guard, but if you actually are fully armed and fully armored,
Yeah.
That's different.
And also,
yeah,
I feel like the Feanorians are much more heavily armed than Fingolfin's troops.
They are. So asking the army to wait outside the city would only make sense for everyone's well-being, but would it obviously immediately cause problems and issues with people feeling that's unfair?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a thing that can happen, where we're like not just standing around talking about stuff, but actually doing something.
Yeah, I don't think that I feel like it's really hard to show that scene where he asks them to do that.
We don't have to show him asking. We just have to show the army camped outside the walls and people grumbling about it.
Right, and the sons of Feanor grousing about it,
saying that this is Fingolfin shoving his weight around, taking charge, usurping their father's place. Like if they use the word usurp, then it's like that's the accusation that Feanor's been making all along.
Yes,
and it makes sense that his sons would parrot him.
Yes. Now, when Feanor does come into the city, they're like right behind him.
Yes.
Which indicates that they have had a conversation prior to the arrival in the city, which means that if there's recitation of something, it's not dumb.
Right.
Just saying. So, all right. So that gives us an additional scene in between that's a completely different tack. I do still think that having Fingolfin receive visitors from Aqualande, like messages of condolence from Olwe. Like Olwe's name has to come up, and we have to remember him. We have to remind the audience that he's out there in Aqualande, so that it's not this random character that we haven't seen or heard of in a year and a half that we're talking to here.
Yeah, I mean, Olwe does show up in the finale.
Yes. But he's not like, he doesn't have a speaking role though, so it would still be easy.
I think he speaks in the finale because we had Olmo check in with the elves of Aqualande a couple times, and obviously Olwe would be the elf.
Yes, but Olwe wouldn't Olwe be at the Feast of Reconciliation?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
We were saying.
I think we were just random elves that were there.
Except that the Teleri basically ignored the Feast of Reconciliation because that was a Noldor thing on Taniquetil. So I think we left Olwe in Aqualande and had him involved with the Uin Ase Olmo side of the story. But I'd have to go back and check if he actually says something.
I think that, well, I don't know that he actually speaks, but you know, what it doesn't.
Regardless, it's important to reintroduce him because we want him to not appear out of nowhere next episode.
Yes, I agree. So that gives us an opportunity to. Well, that's nice. That gives us an opportunity to have Fingolfin's boys kind of discuss the situation with Fingolfin. And Turgon, I suppose, is the voice of reason here.
Yes.
He's the one who's saying that leaving Valinor is a terrible idea. You know.
So
Fingolfin's point of view is basically A, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, and B, I don't know what you're talking about. Fingon, I feel like is content to follow his father's lead without.
Yeah, Fingon wants to go, so anything that results in we're going is fine with him. And Fingon has enough sense not to start arguments needlessly. So if someone already is doing what he wants them to do, why fight them?
Right. Yeah.
Turgon loves Tirion. Tirion is his favorite place ever. So yes, he, like all the elves, is mourning the loss of the trees. Tirion is no longer a well-lit city.
Yeah.
But he would still much rather stay in that city and just build more lamps.
Yeah.
Rather than leave it.
Yeah. Whereas Fingolfin or Fingon, whichever we want to give this point to, is going to make the case that you can You can build Tirion anew in Middle Earth. What's the stop? Like we did it here. Why can't we do it there?
Right.
Which is exactly what Turgon's going to do, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, and I like the idea of setting up those ideas as like there's a reason Turgon went and did that.
Right.
And
yeah. Okay. Well, it is time to take a break. So if you're watching us live, which there are 4 people doing still, definitely hang in there. We'll be right back. If you're watching us on YouTube in the future, definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. If you haven't yet, definitely subscribe. Definitely. And check out the links below. There's all kinds of cool information down there. We'll be back in a minute.